A stunning new development in a murder mystery that has gripped the nation. The last living patriarch in a prominent Murdaugh family is now under arrest. And if you haven't been following this case closely, this is a family that has built their prestige and power in the rural Lowcountry of South Carolina for more than a century. But their fame and their fortune have led to nothing but tragedy in recent years and recent months. 5 people now connected to the Murdaughs have all died. The deaths, plural, date back to 2015 when 19-year-old Stephen Smith was found dead along a road about 10 miles from the Murdaugh home. His death was ruled a probable hit and run at the time. In 2018, a longtime housekeeper for the Murdaugh family, Gloria Satterfield, died in what was initially described as an accidental fall. And then we want you to fast forward to this past June. In the headlines, Alec Murdaugh's wife, Maggie, and their son, Paul, were found dead at the family home. Now, at the time, Paul was facing charges for crashing a boat while driving drunk. This is a crash that killed a 19-year-old woman named Mallory Beach. But tonight, it all comes down to Alec Murdaugh, who even tried to stage his own murder earlier this month. Murdaugh was charged today in connection with an investigation into the millions of dollars that are missing from a settlement involving the death of his longtime housekeeper. Michelle Pense has followed this case closely as host of the Crime Shack podcast, and she is joining us tonight. There are so many layers to this case, Michelle, as you know. I want to start, though, with the arrest and this insurance fraud against Alec Murdaugh. Do you think that he knows more than he is saying right now?
Yes, thank you for having me. Yes, that's a great question. I think we're all wondering, does he know more? I think his actions over the past few months have shown that Alec is a dishonest person. He lied about retiring from his law firm when, in fact, he was fired from his law firm for embezzling millions of dollars. He lied about having somebody shoot him on the side of the road when, in fact, it was a botched suicide plot. So I think his actions have definitely proven to us that he cannot be trusted, that he's a dishonest person, and certainly that he knows more than he's letting on.
Michelle, is Murdaugh a person of interest in the death of his wife and son at this point?
Yes. So SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, announced him as a person of interest early on in the investigation, and he has remained a person of interest. No charges have been filed against him or anyone in regards to Paul or Maggie's murders. And I think looking at what's happened over the past several months, the dominoes are falling. And I think it's just a matter of time before someone is charged in those murders.
Let's unpack some of these other cases. I think the most recent that people are hearing about is this housekeeper that worked at the Murdaugh home. Her name is Gloria Satterfield. She died in 2018 from an apparent fall at the house, and that is what led to the charges of this insurance fraud that we saw the arrest today. So an autopsy, as I understand, Michelle, was never performed on Gloria's body after she died from that apparent fall. At this point, do you believe that investigators will get to a spot where they exhume her body and confirm how she died?
I think they may do that. I think at this point, they will need to do that in order to confirm the manner of death. And there's too many questions in regards to her death, too many questions of how she died. The fact they did not do an autopsy and ruled her death, the manner of death, as natural poses many questions. And now we have the arrest today of Alec Murdaugh, arrested because he stole the money that the insurance companies paid out in regards to her death. So I think definitely we may be looking at them exhuming her body.
The other one is Stephen Smith, who was a teenager at the time that he was killed, his body found along the side of the road. What stands out to you about his case? It was reopened this summer, all these years later, after he died in 2015.
I think his case is very unique, and it was one of the cases that was looked at as soon as Maggie and Paul were found murdered because of his connection with the Murdaugh family. He had gone to high school with the Murdaugh boys, so he knew them, as does the rest of the community in Colleton County. And so his connection to the Murdaughs was significant. The fact that he was found in the middle of a road in the middle of the night by himself, his injuries were not consistent with a hit and run, poses a lot of questions. And again, you can't escape the fact that he is linked to the Murdaugh family. So that is just going to, I think they're looking into that case. They're reinvestigating that case, which is a smart thing to do, because I don't believe it was a hit and run accident.
His mom thinks it was a hate crime. Michelle, I am out of time, but I have one question. You only have a second to answer it, but I think a simple yes or no will do. Do you think that with all of these unexplained deaths surrounding this family, do you think other members or people close to the Murdaugh family could be in danger at this point?
I think that's possible. I think that's why we haven't heard from anyone. I think that's why Buster Murdaugh is staying behind the scenes. He has kept very quiet, and I think the family is smart in keeping quiet. But as far as anybody being in danger, I think it's very possible, yes.
Yeah, Buster, the older living son of the Murdaughs. Michelle Pense, creator and host of the Crime Shack podcast. Appreciate your insight. Thank you.